and milk.
Wait a second.
Yeah, you heard me right.
No. You
You heard me
said
right.
Coca-Cola?
It's called El Jefe Cold Brew. El Jefe, my brother. So you got the Mexican Coca-Cola, you got cinnamon in there, you got nutmeg in there, you got milk in there, and then you hit him up with the espresso. Come on, man.
Wow.
Come on,
That
man. You know
sounds like absolute garbage right now, bro.
Nah, that's not garbaggio.
That
This
sounds
is
like
fire.
that'll put me on the bowl, bro. Like I'm gonna sit on the
It will,
toilet.
but it's worth it though. Some sacrifices are worth it.
you no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. Absolutely not. Oh my god. All
Mic
right.
check. How do I sound?
Sounds like you're doing great. I
Oh,
got plain black coffee, brother. Plain black coffee. That's all I need.
I can't well to tell the people what I'm drinking again right quick. Well, we're gonna do this rundown.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this rundown. Let's get to it. You know how we've been doing it lately. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drinks with a Nobody.
Hello.
I
All
like
right.
this from the beginning with the logo here. It's just like wow.
Why
Whiskey
not?
drink guy. You know what I'm saying? It just feels good right here.
Get your drink. It's Friday, y'all. It's Friday, baby.
We honing in today on a specific topic. You know?
That's right.
We usually got a array of thoughts and topics, but we honing in a bit today on BLM
and much necessary. Yeah.
Very necessary. Why? Because it's a persistent movement. It's back again. It never left. And we'll be hearing more about this movement because trust me, this movement is not going nowhere.
No,
BLM holds city hostage. Is there more I can say about this?
Oh, we have a lot. We have a lot to say.
From that title, I feel like y'all know what we're getting into today. BLM holds city hostage.
Hello and welcome. I'm Macho, that savory you just heard, and you're watching us on Nobody TV. Be sure to follow us on Twitch at MachoFix88 and at Savory_Edition. Be sure to also follow us on Twitter. We got the same handles there. Be sure to also follow us on TikTok. We're moving, booming, and grooving on TikTok. And we're building our Instagram. So type in Drinks with the Nobody on Instagram. Hit that follow. We're building that community. We also want to build a Discord, Drinks with a Nobody.
Yes, sir.
We got our YouTube channel. In case you miss any of our previous past broadcasts, go on the YouTube, type in Drinks with the Nobody, click that subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Hey, Savory, what are we trying to do, and why are we doing this?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again. Welcome. We're doing this for one reason, man. We keep it really simple. Those people who have thoughts, ideas that they're afraid to share, they might censor themselves, might be censored by their family, might be censored by their friends. This might be a channel for you to kick it with us, talk about all kind of topics related to politics and culture.
You never know. Censored, you said censored by your family?
Yeah, man. Some people are afraid to speak in front of their family because they're ostracized. That's the political polarization we live in now, unfortunately. But
yikes.
I wish people the best. Unfortunately, I'm lucky enough to not really be in that situation because I've been that wild child who thinks differently, so they know to deal with me. So, anyway,
yes, and consider us your political and cultural bartenders. We're going to serve you up this topic or topical drinks, and this is our virtual bar. So welcome and thanks for joining us. But also, we want to have an actual physical drink. So me and Savory always have these podcasts over a drink. I'm currently drinking black coffee. Black on black.
You know what I'm drinking.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, listen, I'll do this quick again, man. Right here, I got a unique drink. It's called El Jefe. Right? That's El Jefe is boss in Spanish, right? The El Jefe is a cold brew in a coffee shop around my way that has an espresso shot, has nutmeg, has cinnamon, has Mexican Coca-Cola, and has milk and espresso. Ain't that lovely?
That's like
ain't that lovely?
They would call that in today's culture a Karen special, my friend.
Whoa, this is good. Ow! All right.
All right. So what do we got today, Savory? Can you just nuance this a little bit? Let me hear what's going on today.
Yeah. Let's do this, man. All right. So let's get a little more into what this title means, right? So we got a lot of stuff happening in the city now. We got BLM popping up again. So New York City just elected a new mayor. And back in 2020, to give people some context, they dismantled the crime, the undercover like crime unit in NYC, so the plainclothes unit. And because of that, it had an adverse effect that we'll get into. That wasn't good for the city. Wasn't good for the city. Now the mayor had a city with a BLM leader, and some nice things and not so nice things were said. So
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this in the words of Jesse Lee Peterson. They did. What is that gonna help any of these kids who died over the past few months? When they're like, "Oh no, let's disband." First off, do you agree or disagree with the disbandment or even defunding the police? Just curious.
Why would I agree? I don't get it. Say like for me, it's like, again, you know my logic, right? My logic is this: if you're dismantling something, you have to show me how it's not working, so we can have a logical conversation.
Racial profiling. Racial profiling.
Oh, come on, man. We out here committing crime, man. You grew up in the hood. Your neighbors weren't the sweetest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, let's.
And who does these crimes affect the most, Savory? Who does it affect the most?
Oh, minorities. You ask the people in these communities, they want to dismantle the police. Most people will tell you no, unless you're asking.
There's no shock in that. There's no shock in that. If you have, I lived across the street from the projects, and all I would hear is pop, 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 pop during the summer. I hear it during the weekends. Listen, there ain't no white people around me, so so it's like.
You do the math.
You know who's calling the cops? Your neighbors. So don't get on them because they're snitching. Just understand that they got a family they got to protect too. So it's just the stuff. Well, check this out. BLM. If you don't see them as a terrorist organization after this, I don't know what will. All right,
terrorist organization.
That's right. I said it. I said it. I said it. Savory.
Meanwhile, Mayor-elect Eric Adams has promised to be tough on crime when he takes office, in part by bringing back some controversial police tactics.
But after a recent
ain't nothing controversial,
Adams, Black Lives Matter activists threatened riots and bloodshed if he follows through. Fox 5's Kayla Malik is live in downtown Brooklyn with more details. It's pretty incredible to hear a group saying those two words to the incoming mayor.
First off, Savory, who are they that they get to sit down with the incoming mayor? Who are they? Whose mans is this?
Nah. They somebody. They put in that work. In however way you want to put it. Yeah. They known. They got influence. They got influence, bro. What? They got influence. Listen, if you got your name out there, you're popular, they know who you are, the leader of the NYC chapter in BLM, you know who he is, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You know who the man is.
Yeah,
so
that is absolutely true.
Cool, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's doing something good, but I can see how he can get a meeting like this.
And they were generating the kind of money they were generating. This opens eyes for politicians because politicians only think of that. So, all right, let's see what else we got here, Savory.
Yeah, absolutely, Bianca. It's rattled a whole lot of people. Now, keep in mind, this meeting also marks the first time Black Lives Matter of Greater New York leaders has ever sat down with an incoming or sitting mayor. Eric Adams seemingly agreeing with the activists' ideas on how to combat poverty in the Black community. But things got heated when the conversation turned to police reform.
If they think that they're going to go back to the old ways of policing, then we're going to take to the streets again. There will be riots, there will be fire, and there will be bloodshed.
Nah.
Leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement.
There will be riots, there will be fire, there will be bloodshed. My man just made a promise that we will. The funny thing is when these things
But I thought they peacefully protest.
Yo, but what's up with it? Because when these things happen, it happens in our own communities. So not only is it foolishness, but we're hurting ourselves. So a lot of this craziness when you wonder why people stand up and try to protect their neighborhoods. But
So what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? Go through YouTube, look up crime in New York City, and it won't be long before you see there's this kid last year, Savory, where a guy, I guess, got into an argument with a young kid. It was a grown man. This was a grown ass man. Got into an argument with a kid outside of a bodega, which is a store, which what Hispanics call delis or stores on the corner store. Was outside of the bodega and freaking the dude pulls out his gun. The kid starts running. He puts it close to his head and shoots him, kills him, all on
see,
camera.
you also
Okay?
told me that the girl who pulled that gun and shot somebody at point blank range was caught
in
in
close
Florida,
range.
right?
She was caught in Florida. Yeah,
Wow, I don't know if y'all remember, but that's a crazy video. And that was in New York, right?
yeah, right
Yeah, you
here
see,
in the Bronx or
yeah,
Brooklyn,
you
I think
see,
it was.
that's Brooklyn or the Bronx. That's in New York. That's let me get your thoughts on this really quick, and then we can keep rolling. All right. Gun violence exploded across the city after the NYPD disbanded its anti-crime unit of plainclothes cops. Right. So that's the unit that BLM went out, campaigned, got their way, they disbanded them, right? That's the influence they had. With 3 times as many shootings in the last 2 weeks of the month over the same period in 2019. Police stats show, check this out, that there was a rise in gunfire to 116 incidents from 38 between the same time last year. That's a 205% increase. 205% increase in gunshot incidents. And then that led, of course, to some deaths. Wow. Why?
Forget about the deaths, Savory. The fact that we're having shooting incidents in a high dense city, Chicago, New York City, these are highly dense. And we're talking about Black Lives Matter. How does Black Lives Matter when Black lives are killing other Black lives? And then I hate hearing the
Why is it necessary to
rationalization.
talk about those realities? What's your thoughts on that, man? I know we got the video to play, but I'm curious. What's your take on why it is so like taboo to talk about the black
It's
on
not
black crime
taboo.
that happens?
It's not
People don't want
taboo.
it. They avoid it. They avoid it.
Progressives and liberals have gotten smarter because they are now meeting that answer. That question has been, or that statement has been around to keep accountable of the Black community for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
They have now
It's
figured
avoid
out. They figured an answer now, Savory. They figured out an answer. You know what that answer is?
What is?
Well, of course, you kill what's next to you. No. What you're not understanding is why are we doing this, but then portraying this image to society that you need to treat us better. You need to not profile us. You need to not do
the
this.
question exactly.
Why
It's
are
not in
you?
light of
It's a
crime, right? Every race
confliction.
has, like, when people use white on white crime happens, yeah, but we don't have movements like White Lives Matter or special
No.
privilege.
Oh my
That's the
God.
problem.
Can you imagine a White
Yeah.
Lives Matter? You got the white supremacists, you're a neo-Nazi. You get
They all would be labeled. It's impossible. But
yeah, it's crazy. Imagine having the members of the White Caucus movement, NAACP for white people. Yeah, the list goes on and on, folks. But again, where my point is, really simply, is if you don't treat each other well, why should a officer from another culture treat you well? You guys are calling each other niggers. I stole your bitch. I fucked your bitch. What is the cultural other norms? I'm a crack dealer. I got these dudes hooked on my shit, right? You got all this stuff. You don't even treat each other well. Why should any other culture, Chinese, do you think I mean, again, I know that if we get into the statistics on Chinese
anti-Chinese.
Crimes against Chinese or Asian.
Yeah.
Stop Asian hate. When you guys say stop Asian hate, do you realize Black people are the ones who commit heinous crimes towards Asians?
That's crazy.
Okay, so again, if you don't treat your own people well, why should anyone else treat you well? You don't have respect. You don't have dignity. Yeah,
I'm loving what you're saying, so I'm pulling stuff up when I can. In New York City, anti-Asian hate crime soared nearly 9-fold in 2020 over the year before. Only 2 of the 20 people arrested last year in connection with these attacks were white. Only look what I just pulled up. It's a mainstream article. Only 2 were white. Again, now check this out. To New York Police Department, data analyzed by the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, 11 were African Americans and 6 were Hispanics. So 20. So the average out of the 20 crimes against Asians. Let me break this down in simple terms. The average, right? They're giving an average here, but they're doing in groups of 20s. About 12 are African Americans, about 6 are Hispanic, and 2 are white.
So who's doing the hate?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is right in front of us.
Again, our consistent viewer here has commented and asked a question, and I think it's a great question. Thank you, Herrera, and welcome to our live. I appreciate you. As people of color, do you suggest shifting culture in the Black community? No, I
How
suggest
do you
us being
suggest?
how? Oh, how?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great
Let's see.
question.
Yeah,
How?
right.
One, we have to continue doing what we're doing right here, Herrera. We have to hold our inner city communities accountable. We have to tell them that you don't do the very things that quote unquote racially profile you, right? When you're rioting, looting, stealing, shooting, and doing all those things, it only echoes to the very stereotype in which you're trying to combat. Okay. And this goes to the level of impatience and displaced anger in inner city communities, especially minorities, Black and brown people. They're displaced or looking at their situation, using that anger why they're broke, why they're poor, why they're stuck on drugs, and they're projecting that on society as if that's society's problem. It's not. And remember, Black people are not the only ones poor in this country. But why do I hear about their poorness over white poorness? Why do I hear about their poorness over Chinese poorness? Why do I hear about Black poverty over Hispanic poverty? You guys get where I'm going here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And my quick answer, right? I got a lot of answers to that question. I got a lot of thoughts, I would say, on that. But yeah, I believe it's powerful when the people from these communities, like where I grew up, and other people in those inner cities, can hold each other accountable. When we're that voice, they hear somebody who came from we came, and politicians don't like that because these are actual people speaking from where they grew up with a different perspective. So the more we have of that, the more we have at least people thinking, right? And then self-accountability is a lost art in the inner city community.
Herrera, I also shy away from the whole shifting idea because we thought of this before, and guess what happened in New York City? It's called multiculturalist intermingling or integration, right? And you know what the criticism is today? It's called gentrification. What do you want? What do you want? You have a problem with white people moving into Black neighborhoods? What do you want? If you want to break the barriers, if you want to stop this profile, if you want to intermingle, you want to integrate, if that's not the answer, what is it? And this is what they think the answer is, Savory, if I may.
All right, meet.
Threatening violence on New York City streets if Mayor-elect Eric Adams reinstates the NYPD's controversial anti-crime unit when he takes office next year.
So there's no way that we're going to let some Gestapo come in here and harm our people, right? We pray for peace, but Black Opportunities prepares for the worst.
Wow.
Co-founder of BLM's Greater New York chapter, Hawk Newsome, saying this after
sound like spoiled brats
at Brooklyn Borough Hall.
You know, by the way, pause. Anybody know what Gestapo is?
Wasn't he a mobster or something like that?
No, the Gestapo was the secret police in Nazi Germany.
Oh.
So,
yeah,
take a look at that comparison. You see, so if you could take a second and think about the comparison this man made, right? For those of y'all who didn't know, it's just I thought
welcome to the Oppression Olympics, y'all.
Like,
the Oppression Olympics.
Crazy. Wow.
Bro, first off, this is an uneducated.
I want people to know who Gestapo is.
Uneducated, displaced intention, stubborn, spoiled brat. First off, let me get into the logistics here, right? Since they pay attention to optics, Savory, since they pay attention to skin, this man is black as black, wearing a fresh blue suit, got the little Wakandia chain on, right? Because he's going back to his roots. He's African, right? Wakandia. He's got that going. He's got the little black shirt on, tied up to the neck like a hipster. Okay. Did you peep the shoes he was wearing?
Let's do this. Show me this. I need to see this.
I don't want to go back, but anyone
Right,
watching, go back and look at it. My man's wearing some almost $200 pair of shoes. You know what I'm saying? I think it was more than that. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into the price, but my man's looking fresh. His man's next to him is looking fresh leather, looking good. Now, this doesn't explain their financial securities, but again, this does display an image that you're not one of us, brother.
Yeah.
You're not one of us.
Yeah, you
BLM,
ahead of the game. You just left.
Yeah,
left
billions of dollars. Your co-founders, your people around you are buying houses in rich neighborhoods. So who are you really speaking for?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're addressing poverty, who are you addressing this for? All you're doing is agitating, and you're causing this tension.
Yeah. So this right here, by the way, for the people, is behind the scenes of the actual meeting that happened, right? And one of the founders was recording. All right.
The sit-down taking place behind closed doors, but was live-streamed on Instagram by an attendee. While Adams and the activists did find common ground on issues surrounding policing in the black community, the former NYPD captain has vowed to bring back the anti-crime unit, a task force of mostly plainclothes officers, which was disbanded at the height of the Black Lives Matter protests last year. The conversation escalated.
Look at this
when
man's
Newsom
posture.
told Adams the organization would hold him accountable for any future police misconduct.
I want to sit in front of the mayor.
Yeah. I'm holding you accountable. You get on the ground, stop the violence in my community. I'm holding you
accountable. Okay.
We have actively been trying to hold the NYPD accountable. What are you going to do to hold the NYPD accountable for their unlawful actions?
Brother, I mean, have you been living under a rock?
No.
I did it in the department.
In America?
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah, but we're gonna look. Walking in this room without his.
The mayor-elect also citing his 35 years in public service and promising to continue that work. But it wasn't enough for the activists who wanted Adams to commit to passing more than a dozen pieces of police reform legislation.
We have people.
They don't want to compromise, Savory.
No.
They want power. They want power.
The man went in there with a script. What are you gonna do to help our? What are you talking about, man? Like, what do you want? These people don't even know what they want because they're asking it on the heels of misled information and small clips and footages of a black man being shot.
They give black people a stain, man. Like you misrepresented any one of us, bro. Does he speak for you, Savory?
In what way? Like how? You know what I'm saying? I just showed you the crime rates going on. I just showed you, and we just explained to the people. They can look this up. Most people don't want the police to be dismantled. They're living in their own reality, virtue signaling to their own people while making money on the heels of the hood not getting better. You have nothing to show for that the hood is getting better.
Approximately 500 children in the city of Chicago have died because of stray bullets. Black babies dying.
It's dangerous to sleep in Chicago in certain areas. Like, you're not even safe in bed, bro. How you not safe in bed? That's how you know you're in a war. That's war.
But I'm delusional.
Think about it. That's war. When you're not safe in bed, bro, you can't go home safely. So home is supposed to be a sense of like, relief, right? Let me relax. You can't relax in certain places in Chicago because you might get a bullet by another black person straight to your dome. These people are crazy.
Savory, in the crime stats, right? Did you know that there's a primary caller that calls 911? Do you know who that is?
I'm gonna go out and say black people.
Yeah. Well, black women.
Black women.
They make 90% of the 911 calls in the hood. Black women. 90%, according to crime stats. 90%. How's that for racism? No, folks. 90%? What this should reveal to you is that we have a major problem that needs to be addressed. when you think about this defunding the police, think about that woman who has children. She don't care about snitching. Get your mess out of the hood. You want to handle your beef? You want to handle your problems? You want to sell your drugs? Get it out of my building. Get it out of here, because I'll call the cops, and they do. 90% of those 911 calls are coming from black women, and rightfully so. And I applaud them. I applaud them. Why? Because you got your babies you got to be primarily concerned for. That's mama bear taking care of her cubs.
Portion of that is probably domestic violence. Portion of that is
shooting. Oh yeah,
certainly. The whole. I'm guessing that 90% makes up a lot of different crimes. Which is.
But don't tell me that's racial profiling. Don't tell me that's discrimination. And this is where I get mad at people like Eric Adams, because he's not gonna save your city. You think because he looks black. He was ex-PD. He knows. Oh, I've seen crime in the police department. Well, tell me one crime that doesn't get dealt with in the police department, Savory. Can anyone tell me statistics on that? Because I listen to the radio all the time, and I hear charges always going on inside, and that the what are the internal affairs? Internal affairs is always drawing up cases against police officers, and they're putting police officers in jail. So stop saying they're getting away with crime, because they're not. They're not. For example, I'll give you an example. There was a police officer, real quickly. There was a police officer in Florida. Florida, of all places. Red bumfuck Florida. The deplorables down there that you guys like to make fun of, right? A police officer was caught planting drugs inside of a vehicle. Did he walk away? Oh, no. Oh, no, they caught that on his body cam. They caught that.
What people got to ask themselves is this. Similar situations I've seen, and the same person in a similar situation can walk off in a more Democratic-controlled city. So a lot of it, we're voting these people in. The laws are actually not stricter, because you have a lot of stuff where you can commit crime and you're in and out of jail in cities, right? There's certain cases that cops don't waste their time in the city, because the law, they'll be in and they'll be out the next morning. They don't want to deal with the paperwork. Police officers themselves have told me this, So it's like, so I wonder in Florida, if that same situation, sometimes you be getting away with a lot of stuff because of the people we're voting in and the policies that are changing before our eyes. And then you complain, but that's the person you voted in to change these kind of laws. So I just believe accountability also is a big thing. So like, I don't know he said,
Eric Adams, I have to give him credit where credit's due. He said, I'll do my part. Are you going to do your part to keep the hood and my streets safe? Did he answer the question, Savory? He said, no. What about America? What about America? What are you coming here about America for?
Said, we're doing our part, but what are you going to... You rehearsed that line for a few days and it didn't go too well for you.
And this is what I'm saying, folks. Listen, I know people on my Facebook everywhere. They probably disagree with me. They probably now look at me as a fly on the wall, say, you're just a gnat, you're annoying. I'm going to keep talking until somebody listens and someone speaks back to me, because I grew up in the hood. Okay. I grew up in the hood. Savory, I know did you grow up in the suburbs, Savory?
Did not, man.
You look like a suburb boy. Look at you.
Yeah, I got a little clean after I left the hood.
With your American flag. You got your American flag, white supremacist flag behind you. What's wrong with you, brother? You brainwashed. We grew up in the hood, folks. And I'm going to close with this. We cannot allow people to generalize. If you don't want profiling to happen to you, and you don't want a white person to just generalize you for one bad apple in the group, right? You don't want a police officer. We make these excuses. Oh, what? It's just one bad apple, right? On both sides, conservatives and progressives. Listen, if we don't want the generalizations, then stop holding city hostage, on generalizations. Okay? And do not allow these people to speak for you. They do not speak for you. They have their own agenda, folks. They have their own quotas to keep up. How do you think this man makes money? You think he does this and has a full-time job? No, this is his job. He's got to make sure that the mayor pays up. Okay,
Facts.
how much you think he was there because let's address. You think that was recorded because that was the conversation? No, that part was recorded. But they're probably like, all right, what's your percentage that you're
Mhm.
giving to BLM? We'll say this. We'll have this little spat right here, and then in the papers, what we'll do is we'll make sure that you're giving. The mayor donates or the city donates 10% of its annual budgets to BLM. Look, this
Yeah.
mayor's for BLM. This is
Yeah,
smoke and mirrors.
and then another thing I want to add to that, right, is this. We tend to think that what we watch and what we see in the media is speaking for what people think in the hood. And it's actually a lot of times fully disconnected, right? Let me end with this example here. For example, right? They interview this victim and they do polls of asking single black mothers, Hispanic people, and all these people who grew up in the hood. And they're like, the first reaction is like, no, I don't want to dismantle police. Like, for what? Like, I'm in the hood. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know the deal. So check this story out. New York Post reported, right? The son was gunned down, right, outside of a house party 2 days after the police commissioner was scrapping the unit, which is the anti-crime unit that came off the heels of BLM that they got dismantled. It was a group of 600 officers tasked with preventing violent street crime. That same day, not only did someone get shot, but somebody lost their life. Literally less than a few hours. She said they shouldn't have disbanded it. She said, like, what's the point? Whatever the problem they have, address it, but don't disband the unit. Many lives would have been saved, not just my son. You see, like, these sentiments, I want people to realize. And if you're in the hood, you tell me if you think the same way. Of course you do, unless you're in the street out here trying to make problems, which most people are not, even in the hood, trying to get their life together. You're not trying to deal with these problems and you want to be protected. So just the presence of a police officer in a unit makes people feel safe. That's just the reality. So those same people that hate police probably have called police before, probably have felt safe around police before, and they probably had no bad interaction. Not everybody has a bad interaction with police all of a sudden. Most people don't, man. That's just a reality, man.
It looks like we're gonna have to continue this another time. Say I can see the amount of viewers we have today, and it's just very good. Thank you for joining us. We're going to continue this conversation. This is why we started this podcast, and this is why we have our virtual bar here, and we want to have this over a drink because we believe that this is the kind of change that needs to happen. You notice how the only physical activity that Savory and I are doing right now is using our mouths and using our hands to bring our cups to our mouths. That's about it. We're going to have this discussion until it starts to get into people's minds. I don't want you to change your mind based on what we say. You don't even have to agree with us, but you can understand where we come from and that these things are not what they appear to be. They're lying to you, folks. They're lying to you. And don't allow people to lie to you. We are in a free society. And hey, if you want to be lied to, if you want to be told sweet nothings, then that's your prerogative. But if there's people out there that want to fact check you and want to tell you like it is, hey, guess what? Drinks for the nobody. We push back here. So thanks for joining us. We will definitely continue this conversation.
Yeah.
I like where this is going, Savory. We're probably going to come back on Monday and talk about there was Alan Horsowitz, I think his name is. He went around the hood. This is a Jew. This is like a white Jew guy. He walked around the hood, asked about is voter ID racist, asked is do you believe in defunding the police? He asked those questions. I got it on camera. So I'm going to look that clip up and I'm going to bring that up and then continue the conversation. If you're tuned in, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you for joining across our platforms. We see people, across our platforms here. We stream all at once. So we appreciate y'all wherever you're from. Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, all those platforms. Right. We appreciate y'all, man.
And in any event, if you missed any of our previous broadcasts, you tuned in on the other platforms, go on the YouTube, type in Drinks with a Nobody. Okay, let me pull up that lower third here. Type in Drinks with a Nobody. Hit that subscribe button. Click that notification bell. So when we go live or anything gets dropped in there, you'll know it. You'll be able to see it. So please leave your comments, whether you agree or disagree. I see Herrera put a something here about did you hear about the group of black men in Detroit calling out and threatening gangs? We're going to look into that story. Those are the things. Those are the reasons why we want this, to cross-reference information, to get this and become a resource. to become the very resource for folks to get alternative information. And I want to thank you, Herrera, for doing that. We're going to look into that story over the weekend. So again, thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Have a drink on us. And again, at Drinks with a Nobody, this show may be over, but we don't believe in any last call. So keep the conversation going. And until Monday, see you folks.